I think they did a video where someone took the original couch. I assume this was a separate couch. I'm not sure which one this was, because I never watched Game Grumps. Julian had some familiarity with it, but I literally didn't know much about it at all. Only a handful of things from things I heard from other people. That's why I wasn't starstruck going in there to begin with. And that's why I immediately established rules for myself of don't talk to anybody unless they talk to you. Don't get yourself tangled up in anything. I was already very hesitant because I also knew this guy came from Newgrounds, and I know what Newgrounds is, and I know how they behaved. I remember what his reviews used to look like, how much he would lash out at other animators and everything too. I also remember that a lot of the other Newgrounds people who were acting like this guy is the, root of all evil, acted the exact same way and were trying to imitate him. And it's this weird thing of they want to kind of copy him and replace him and like kill him, which is what they were doing. There was an active effort. That's why there's so many vague comments taking shots at him in videos. They do it to a lot of people, by the way, constantly taking vague shots at people over and over and over again. They did it to us too. They did it to another situation, and a lot of people found out about it later and figured out, like, oh, that's what that meant. I didn't really get it, but now I get it. Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. If there's something they say in a video that doesn't make a lot of sense, they're probably referencing an actual person that they're hoping to hurt through one of their videos. That was why they brought up the tuba thing in the one video. That was them trying to take a shot at me. And they were trying to expose people to the fact that I was a furry. Then a few months later asking me if I'll record with them again. Which maybe was even partially trying to test the waters of, did you see when I called you out in front of everybody and tried to get you hurt? No, I didn't. I only found out about that one very recently. Like I said, only a year and a half ago did I find out about that one. 2 years ago, maybe? I think it was a year and a half ago. I only recently found out about that one and just couldn't believe it. That it was just there the whole time. And they had the nerve to keep trying to say over and over again to Julian and I how bad we are. And it was always that phrasing, you're a bad person. Uh-huh. Okay. No, it was, like I said, it was maddening at its absolute worst. We were very heavily trapped when we were back in LA. It was a goddamn miracle we were able to move away. Because he said in 2020 or 2021, I think it was 20. When was it? Was it 2021 or 2022? It's because we got asked. Anytime that we ever went back to record, it's because we got asked. That's why I could also tell when they were going out of their way to try to spread rumors, trying to go out there and say things like, I bet they're doing it because they're greedy and they just want money. No, we got asked every single time. It's why it was really goofy the last time that we did record, because months later, after getting angry about stuff, they also brought up the idea of I never had problems with anybody else before, and it was so much easier, and I got to realize that you guys made everything so much more difficult, where I then had to follow up by going, then why did you ask me to record with you again? If everything was going so much better, then why were you just telling me that you're not gelling with any of these people, and you don't like doing this, and that's why you want to record with us again? Are you just saying that because you're angry in the heat of the moment right now? Why did you even ask me to do this again then? And by the way, if I ever told people publicly that we got asked to record, that seemed to make them very angry too. There's definitely an angle they want this to kind of come at. They want this to look a certain way to people. And part of the reason I was keeping my head down was because they just took things so fucking far that I just didn't want to set them off even further. People hated us. People were not going to change their mind on any of it. And considering it's a crowd that kind of loved the fact that we got hurt anyways, there was no way you were going to convince anybody of anything. No one was going to care, even if you did convince them. If anything, they think it's funny, and they're glad that it happened. But that was why we went back and recorded. I wanted people to at least be able to have some fun videos to kind of go out on. But simultaneously, it was a messy one. We got asked to do it completely on the spot, and apparently all the editors weren't contacted about it either. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on. It was abrupt and completely out of nowhere that we got contacted on this one. In fact, one of the people who was working for the channel was paranoid we were trying to replace them, and I had to tell them, like, man, we used to talk when you were first working on all of this, and I was on your side. Because you noticed how often this would happen, that they would start lashing out at everybody and blaming everybody else for the things that they would do. Why would I want to go back to this? No, we weren't trying to replace you. I don't even fully understand what really happened here because it was all so goddamn abrupt. But it was a weird one because initially I was kind of on the fence about it. I was in the middle about it. Especially because they started going, and I could buy a computer, I could have it over there, and I could come by all the time. And I said, no, we're not doing that. You're not going to get comfortable with this and that you bring us back into all of this and we start doing all this again. Absolutely not. We want to be working on our own projects. I'm not going to be losing time for that right now. Julian, it was a hard no. Then discussions kind of took place. There were terms and conditions and rules and everything that we were trying to establish to actually allow it to flow smoothly rather than how things went in the past where it was things just kind of randomly go and everyone else has to pick up the pieces. We wanted to schedule. We wanted to figure everything out, especially that we said this needs to take 2 weeks. We will do it. It will be 2 weeks and nothing beyond that. We record everything. We give you everything. We even bought a portable hard drive. They refused to use the portable hard drive, and they left it where we were anyway, so we wasted money on a portable hard drive. They kept insisting that we have to use Dropbox and everything. I mentioned it before, but I could tell they went through one of Julian's private books because they blurted out a thing that was in one of them during one of the videos. They were trying to give me a hard time for the furry stuff in a couple of videos that we did with them anyways, and I actually just didn't notice it because I really did tune them out. They were repeating it over and over again in the same tone of voice, and I was just talking to Julian and didn't even pay any attention to it because I kind of just didn't care. I was trying to be in high spirits, but part of being in high spirits was, okay, this person's ridiculous and you know that they are, and they're going to be just kind of, doing the same thing that they're doing, and you don't have to feed into any of it. Try to have a good time because ultimately here, I want to give people at least something like entertaining. I want to give people a good time. Even if this person just wants to give everyone like a miserable time. One of the rules that we had established immediately was, don't bring up intense political shit here. Don't try to like get drama stuff going or bring up like lol cows or whatever. Let's just try to focus on having a good time with the games that we're playing. And immediately, first recording session, bringing up problem with a poo, like fucking years later. And afterwards we had to go into that saying, you did it. You did exactly what you said you weren't going to do. You talked about a thing that we didn't really want to be talking about, and you're trying to make it now that because we're on the couch with you, we're now aligned with all of this, and we're going with all of it. It was very awkward, and that was the issue with all of it when we arranged it too. It's supposed to be for 2 weeks. It most certainly was not 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks for the actual trip part of it in the recording, but because there was so little communication with the editors and everything, it ended up being a month-long process, like more than a month, a few months, trying to get everything organized with them, and because they refused to take the hard drive with them, I had to tediously upload things to Dropbox, which would take forever, and our internet would cut out because if people remember our streams back where we used to live at the time, monsoons constantly that would knock out the power. Our Pokemon live streams we had done at the time were fucking cursed because there were so many thunderstorms that cut out our internet and power entirely, sometimes for like a couple of days. And because that was happening, that also made all the people that were working on the editing end thinking that I was just making things up when I wasn't. And that I remember specifically one of them lashed out at me in the group chat at one point going, yeah, so how's that oh so real Pokemon video going right now? And my response was just, yeah, hi. And it took like a day for them to finally go, oh, I mean, like, I'm sorry if I came at you kind of hard with that one, but I mean, you got to admit at the same time, man. And I was just like, no, I don't. We told you what our situation was, and I don't think you care. And eventually I was shown a screenshot where it was very absent-minded, the screenshot that they showed me. Because what they're trying to show me was like, oh, yeah, see, they're asking for this one file. one of the other people who was in the group. I got showed the screenshot, and I'm seeing every last person who's like on the editing team trash talking us incessantly, making shit up about us, freaking the fuck out and getting paranoid about us, and insulting us every step of the way and going, ha 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 ha, wow. And it was just like, what the fuck is this? I didn't do anything to any of you guys. I haven't been talking to any of you guys. I'm about as clueless on all of this too. And you immediately blame us and try to drop all of your fucking problems onto us. This is why we didn't want to come back to doing this kind of thing. Jesus Christ. That's why it wasn't like, well, at least there was an answer down the middle. No, there wasn't. The answer was we're outsiders again, so treat it like everything is our fault when we're kind of the only reason some of this was even moving. We got as much done as we did because we did have a schedule. We picked the games we did because we seriously filled up an entire notebook and made like keys and symbols and everything to represent, hey, this game would take actually just a single playthrough. This would have to be multi-part. This one features this kind of thing. This is a good game to talk over. We went through all this effort. We did so much just to try to make it move. And through the entire thing, everybody was treating us like dog shit. It was extremely frustrating, and it's why we're never, ever, ever going to do anything like that again. And then, of course, like what I said, I just found out recently, like a year and a half back, I didn't know I was being called out for being a furry in videos when I wasn't even on the channel. Literally, like just a few months before I got asked to record again. I didn't realize it. But it was a whole messy thing. A very big messy thing. We tried as hard as we could anyways. Call him out every time during that last... Julian had absolutely no patience for it. And that was what happened initially was, on me, I was in the middle on it. I wasn't sure about really doing it. On one end, I did tell people, maybe we'll come back later on. And it was a huge maybe, because the thing that we needed to see was there was actual improvement here. Can you be a little more professional about this? Can you be a little more respectful about this? The answer was no. But we didn't find that out until we did it. Julian, it was a hard no. And the more that we talked about it, and the more we're figuring out schedule and everything, it turned into Julian actually saying yes, and I was shocked by it. Because at the very last moment, actually, I started saying no. I felt like this would actually be a huge mistake. But you guys know how difficult our living situation has been and everything, too. We're barely getting by and everything. We were really struggling. There was some kind of justification to it when it came to that, well, be, enough here for Julian to see some worth to it, that if he can really actually hold this down and be respectful and actually improve, and didn't really. They seemed furious with any of the games that we actually suggested, even if I was going to play it and put all the time down onto it. Yeek, for example, I was playing that off camera, constantly. I was grinding, I was doing all this stuff for it. Similar to how Kingdom Hearts, Julian was doing all of that. He was grinding off camera and doing all this other stuff to make it possible. No, we pushed ourselves really hard. While they were just laying in our bed the whole time. And sleeping during the daytime and staying up all night, and we would hear them rustling around and doing whatever the fuck in the bedroom. I mentioned it that one of the days when we did play Yeek, they went into the bathroom and turned on the fan and went on their phone and said how it was going to be a video that was going to do really badly, and it seemed like he was really mad. And hoping that we weren't going to hear him, except he doesn't know our house. That fan doesn't cover shit. We heard the whole thing. We caught him on his phone using 4chan, and he said he was just using the comedy threads, except I saw the thread that he was looking at. It was related to somebody he works with. We saw there wasn't really improvement. He didn't really go with a lot of the stuff that he had promised. Some of those videos are kind of a goddamn miracle. I think Panic is a really good example. I edited that one together, and after I did and I sent it over to them, I remember even getting met with like, oh, I didn't think you were going to use that one. I know you didn't. I know you were intentionally trying to stay in a bad mood for all of it and not say anything, but yeah, we ended up using it. That Pokemon one was similar. That's why Julian and I are talking a lot by the end of that one, but it's just us talking by the end of that one. It used to happen in older stuff too. But yeah, I didn't notice any of it because I also didn't watch a lot of those. I thought it read very clearly that at least we're like being funnier here and we're a little more confident. We're at least trying to be ourselves a little bit more. But I guess that is what people were taking in, because I did even see it back at the time that people had brought up like, oh my God, yeah, like they're like calling him out a lot and everything. It seems like none of them are really getting along, which is surprising. I remember I was like giggling like crazy during all of it. I thought I was in high spirits, but yeah, no, I picked up on it. I was in high spirits when I got to talk to Julian. It was, I think it was pretty obvious that there was tension between everybody. And that was why there was tension between everybody. And that finale thing was not supposed to be announced in any kind of way anyways. He had made the insistence that we have to do a big finale thing. He wanted to do it with Kingdom Hearts way back at the time, too, and kept trying to hype that up, and there was no real, genuine big finale. We didn't get to do the idea that we had because it was too elaborate, and he didn't feel like actually dedicating the time to go do it. But the same thing happened. With the Yeek finale, he at least rendered a little bit, like a 30-second animation of just, like, Alex getting out of his bed. But, and he put hamburgers over a loading screen. The finale that he was planning on was just going to be literally the previous episode again, because the editor seriously cut it off right at the end of the game. That kind of is the finale, I think. I think that's fine as a finale compared to what was about to happen. That it was going to just be the same video again, but with a couple of new video edits put on top of it. And then we just sit on the title screen and just kind of ramble for 20 minutes. I don't think people would have been happy about that. That's why I wanted to do something. When he suggested the idea of doing some kind of like flashy finale for it, I was kind of down for it. I said, yeah, I could figure out something on that one, because it's not great where that ended. Julian wanted absolutely nothing to do with it, and I don't blame him. But that was what then happened. I reverse engineered the game. I was able to figure out where all the game's like script files were. I found like test cutscenes that were even in the game's code. And I was able to go in and repurpose cutscenes and everything. I still have video clips of it. I had posted them even back at the time, way back. I posted some fake cutscenes I made in the game engine by just modifying it. And I did all that because I said, hey, look at that. I tried to make it really easy here. I know you're busy with stuff and everything, and you don't have a lot of time for this kind of thing. I mean, we're really busy with a lot too, but I reverse engineered all of it. You don't even have to render anything. We can really save a lot of trouble here. We could just write a script down. I can embed it into the game engine, and we can just put some audio over it, and that's all we have to do. And they were just like, yeah, you get on that. I got asked to drop the summer resort game I was doing at the time. Like everything we were putting together that videotape show at the time too. Got asked to drop all of that because they said, I'm really mad because, everyone keeps bringing this up again and everything. And I said too, because you told people about it and you keep telling people about it. No one wanted you to go make a big deal of this either. And if anything, it's starting to feel like you're doing this because you're trying to like keep us held on to. And I do think that was the intention. I think the finale was supposed to be a thing of keeping us stalled out and like continuously as a factor here, which is why every single time it got brought up after the first time, it always had to be some vague kind of insult slung towards our direction, like we messed everything up. And I can also speak to this. I did get to see there was a direct image board post that I'm pretty sure came right from him to insist that we messed up the entire thing. Which if you guys follow us and if you know anything about us, no, we commit ourselves very hard to the things we do. It's why I put up with all that to play Yeek to begin with, even when the game froze and even with all the grinding, and that's why I reverse engineered the game. No, I put a lot of effort in, actually. It was really unfortunate. And it's why it took someone having to donate money for them to eventually say that there was no finale. And having kind of their mannerisms slip out a bit, being a little bit backhanded to people over that. For example, the slanty smiley face thing is being done sarcastically whenever it's being done. Just something to take note of, I guess. But, yeah, a lot of scapegoating on that one, too. I was the one who wanted to play Yeek to begin with. I was the one who was putting up with all of it, too, when there were all these moments of impatience and wanting to drop it. Once again, retreating into the bathroom and going on the phone saying it was going to do horrible as a series. It's really fucking weird to be put into a spot like that where you bust your ass on like everything for it and make that into a thing just to then be blamed for like how it's all been ruined when it was the thing that you were doing to begin with anyways. It was really fucking strange. He even messaged me at one point getting into, you know, I kind of took the fall on that one for you guys, where it's like, no, you didn't. You were pointing at us every step of the way. And that was what I got to hear about a year and a half back, like I had mentioned. Not going to say who it is, but a YouTuber was messaging me because he still actively watches their videos, and he brought up, like, do you know he's been doing this? And they sent me a clip that they had isolated of it where he's making vague comments going like, hey guys, we're going to do a really big finale and it's going to be great and everything. Oh, just kidding. You're just insulting yourself right now. You're the one who told everybody about it and made it into a big deal. I gave you opportunities to help out here. You just didn't want to. Even when we had our last talk about doing that finale, he acted like we dropped the ball on it and everything, and then said, it was not that you dropped the ball. You had the ball, and the ball disappeared. I remember Julian even kind of scoffing at that, just being like, so you're saying we dropped the ball? But I remembered bringing up, like, do you want me to go get the old messages that we had? Because I was working on it with you, and then you just kind of stopped responding after I dropped everything to make time for it. And they seemed really resistant against the idea of me doing that, but I did. I went back and I got the logs, and I pinned them and everything, too. And I was like, no, see, right here. I'm talking to you. There's me getting it all going with you. I'm figuring everything out with you. You show me the little snippet of animation that you had already done. I'm talking to you about all the scripting stuff. You're telling me that I should be handling the script. And then you disappeared for a long period of time and then said you were like taking a trip back home to visit family. And then nothing ever came of it ever since that point. I get a suspicion that he kind of did just want me to drop whatever we were working on at the time. I don't think he wanted necessarily to really get that done. I don't know. Because in the past, he also told me to stop streaming when we kind of needed to be able to stay afloat. But yeah, we came back because we wanted to at least be able to give people some entertaining like finales to go off of, finish some series that never got finished before. We wanted to actually treat some of the people who at least missed just having kind of good times here to something a little bit better. But it was hard to do, and it was very hard to maintain. And through all of it, we just don't fit in with what it is that he's going for or what he wants. I think that was just the biggest issue of all. But going back to why did you do it? Because he asked me to. Once again, any time that I showed up on there again, it's because I got asked to. For example, that maze game that we played, I didn't even know who that other guy was. I got asked to do it. I remember we were at a Halloween party, and because we happened to be visiting everything, we were there, and I got brought inside, and then there was a begging situation of like, hey, so like, would you want to like, record, something? And it was kind of awkward because everybody else was outside wondering what was going on, that he just kind of took off. And now everyone's just kind of sitting outside while he's inside away from everyone. But, yeah, every single time we would get asked. But like I said, through all this is why I don't want people to be in a position to go lash out. I don't want people to be in a position where they go, I'm not going to watch any of this anymore. If you're being amused by the antics that they've got, don't abandon that if that's what you're actually amused by. You don't have to have your fun ruined because some people who didn't fit into this anyways to begin with aren't there anymore. We haven't been for a long time. You can still have your fun and watch it and everything. I just don't want anything to do with it, obviously. Julian doesn't want anything to do with it. And none of them want anything to do with us. And I think that's completely acceptable, and that's how it probably just should have been. But no, I don't like that continuously I'd have shots taken at my end, and I was supposed to be respectful and peaceful and not say anything about any of it as we keep getting hurt over and over and over again, and we get blamed for a bunch of things that we didn't do. When, if anything, we wouldn't have had any videos there to begin with anyways if we didn't bust our asses the way that we did. Julian animating that opening while we were recording and everything, too. We were putting in as much effort as we really could. We were doing a lot. And if people are over here and you're kind of understanding that now about it, where you're like, okay, so like, I don't know, I was following you guys because of this stuff. Maybe this isn't the right place for you. Oh, hey. I'm sorry. It's okay. And that's okay if it's not.
Are you going to be all right? Because you've been up for a long time.
I'll be all right, but I had some moments earlier where it was hitting me pretty hard. I don't feel quite as bad right now, but still kind of a thing. I feel fine at the moment, though. Are you okay?
I mean, at least we covered the overdrafts.
Yeah, we did.
The stuff that you got will help for the future as well.
Yeah. Everyone helped out a lot this morning. And I definitely need to finish up reading some of that, too. Because people were asking some stuff in relation to these situations, and I'm sure I'm sure you could go on and on and on about a lot of this stuff too yourself if you had wanted.
Do you want me to? Do you want me to say things?
It's the thing I've always been worried about is I've been able to be a little more calm about these things, and I know for you it's kind of like
for anybody that's been here listening to Dee Dee talk about this stuff, because it's like it's morning right now. There's probably not people who were here to listen to the entire conversation for hours. Dee Dee's reaction is like very, very mild compared to mine. I've like very literally gone out of my mind over this stuff. And I've always been incredibly depressed and distressed about it. These experiences made me lose my faith in humanity overall. And it makes me incredibly angry at like everybody. And so I have to constantly try to like manage myself to not be completely hopeless and completely full of rage over everything. Dee Dee's reaction is really, really, really mild compared to mine. If anybody has been here thinking that he's like a big grump or something, I'm like 1,000 times more intense about it than he is. That's what I could say right now.
Okay. Maybe
I don't know what other details.
That's why maybe we just leave it at that. Because that is the thing that I was always kind of worried about too.
My mic is not off, right? Or it is off.
Yes, that mic is off. I could turn it up if you want. But that's why I was saying too, if anyone is even just hearing all this now and just being like, man, what a whiny, like, yeah, no, you're in the wrong place. You're most certainly in the wrong place. I know a lot of people are really angry with us for not wanting to see these things anymore or hear about these things and feeling like it's some kind of betrayal to an audience thing. But trust me on this.
We've also been talking about a lot of these things for years.
Yes, and people just not hearing it. Yeah. But no, if anything, that's why I was sometimes doing this stuff, is because I did care about the audience. I wanted to be able to give people good times despite all of this. But it became its own messy thing with that too, because no, it was being treated like I was actually hurting the audience and that I was trying to ruin everything when that stuff was being made because I was pushing myself through all of it. Once again, Yeek specifically, that was me. I picked that out. I picked that game out. I was grinding that game. I was trying to do everything I could for that one. It happened with a lot of them. I mentioned it with Panic. That almost didn't work at all. I had to go really hard Frankensteining that one together to kind of make it work. Because once again, the intention seemed to be kind of sabotage this one so we don't use it. And there's some older videos that kind of operate that way too. It was me trying really hard to just be there for everybody and trying to get people to talk to each other and try to see something down the middle and just never being able to pull it off ever. Because it just wasn't going to happen. If anything, every time that I did that, it just set myself up to get hurt again and again, because that's what an idiot. I just called him out for being a furry and he's still doing this? What a moron. It was probably a lot of that being felt. It's very unfortunate. I wish it didn't have to be this way, because like I said before, there were occasionally good times, but they were pretty few and far between. It was mostly just the stress. and trying to kind of like make the world around us feel like it was completely hopeless. That's why I'm trying to be here for Julian on a lot of this too, because it did impact him that much. He's not exaggerating with what he's saying on that either. It did impact him that badly. I don't want him to lose faith in the entire world around him because of something like this. Simultaneously, I kind of get why he was. It's really fucked up when, you know, reality is the total opposite of what people are trying to insist upon these things being, and people really want to double down and beat down on all of this too. It's really unfortunate.
The fuck is that last option?
Sweat?
Oh, sweat. Yeah, why
Yeah,
is there
sweat.
in the game?
Did you notice that when they're losing, sweat comes out of them?
Oh,
You can turn it off.
Weird.
You can also position where the face graphic is in their like
Oh, yeah,
area.
you're right, it says.
Yeah.
Pretty strange.
There's also a secret menu that you can put in a code for, but I actually didn't commit the code to memory. We played through this game 3 times. We did every difficulty. We played through like everything. We did Tetris and Dr. Mario, and we played through every last mode in it on every single difficulty. And by the way, I never did the versus mode against the computer in Dr. Mario on Super Nintendo. Without a doubt, it is the like most brutal AI I have ever witnessed in a puzzle game. It was borderline impossible. The AI in Dr. Mario reads everything perfect, scans everything perfect, moves absolutely perfect. So I had to turn it down to the lowest level to see if I could race to the finish and beat them by intentionally not letting any pieces fall to the ground because it takes too much time. At least the way that the AI was coded, they would let things fall down sometimes. And it worked. I was able to get through it, but it was hellish. But we did it. We beat a lot of games tonight. We finished Super Mario World twice, not even one time, twice. We did everything in Tetris and Dr. Mario. Did everything here in Kirby's Avalanche. So we did do a lot. Here, I'll turn your mic up because I'm gonna.
You don't have to.
Oh, are you sure?
What do you want to do?
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Say things?
No, not really. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I want to start reading through donations and everything. And even with the talk here, I guess just the thing I want to leave people with before I go to the bathroom. Like I said, please don't make this into a big thing or anything either. I know easier said than done, but I don't want people to be in this position either that it has to become, you know, a major thing. It's why I was trying to be very respectful, even if the people around me weren't going to be respectful with any of it, and they were going to continuously try to keep getting me hurt while I would keep my head down. I was doing it because I really did want to just make it clear. I don't want to fucking fight about these things. I never did. But, like I said, too, when I found out about that thing, the furry call out, and that was seriously just a few months before we recorded with them and everything, that was enough where I was like, you know what? I think I'm just done with this. I have no reason to be nice to this. I have no reason to be kind to this. They even just got me to buy a game and then they removed me immediately off of Steam just a little bit afterwards anyways. I'm tired of doing this kind of thing that I'm supposed to be there for somebody who literally just wants to see me get hurt over and over and over again. So that's why at least I wanted to present here at least where it was kind of coming from for our end. And here's the thing. There's 2 of us, one of the other person, and it really says something that despite 2 people having all the same stories to share, it was much more important for people to gravitate around the one person who remained vague and didn't really get into things. We were not going to ever be listened to on a lot of this. That's why even talking about this right now, if people would hope like, well, maybe if it was like out there, it's not going to. It already was out there to a certain degree, and people just made that into a bigger problem. Because of what that crowd is, because of what that audience is, because of what a lot of these creators are, they don't care about kindness. They don't care about respect. None of that matters. All of this is just going to continue further problems, and I'm really, really just done with it. We've been done with it for quite a long time. We really do want to be able to just be ourselves. And once again, easier said than done, obviously. People are still getting really angry with us that we didn't want to hear about these things, thinking it's some spiteful thing towards them, when once again, I don't know, does it make enough sense to people at this point why these things are a little bit uncomfortable, of people trying to kind of get us reassociated with all of it again too, when truthfully, the people that we were working with most certainly do not like that. They don't like when we have to come up again. And we also don't like being reminded of all of it again, and with the potential of, we might be talking to some kind of weird alt-righter now, because that's what a big, massive majority of so much of that audience is, because it's the tendencies, it's what they aim for, it's what they want. But I'm not going to lie about this kind of thing. It's why we've gotten hurt a lot. Not lying has done a very good job of also getting us hurt over and over and over again. I guess that's why a lot of people act in cowardice and just kind of live a life of lying and only lying. And that was also why I was trying to remain calm through a lot of this and not get that heavily into it. But it went too far. And people are trying to reignite it again as of just, like I said, like a week ago. So if you want to go watch them still, by all means. I'm not trying to do a thing here to tell you don't watch any of this stuff ever again and you need to avoid all of this. No. I'm not going to agree with people who want to prioritize this sort of thing. I'm not going to be happy about it necessarily, but at the same time, too, I'm not going to tell people things they can and cannot do when it comes to that. I don't expect people to even be, caring about us necessarily that much, because to be fair, too, who are we? I know a bunch of you guys do care, and I'm very thankful for that, because you guys have been the ones that have allowed us to survive, because nobody else around us was going to help us with these things. You guys actually did really go a long way towards helping us. There were a bunch of you who actually stood by and stuck by, and only in recent years has it been starting to make more sense to people, because a lot of the things that we had talked about in the past are kind of coming full circle here without us even being there. But yeah, I don't want there to be some big fight coming off of this. And even with, the falling out that happened, there wasn't some big fight. I didn't have a big argument with him or something. He just started removing me on things. He kicked me off of the Dropbox. He removed me on Steam right after I had bought a game to play with him one night. And I assume it's because I mentioned this before. I had talked to one of his friends who noticed that they weren't following me anymore, literally the second that had happened. They hadn't spoken to me in 7 fucking years. And then they show up conveniently off of that one. And I had to point it out to them, and I noticed too, they went back and deleted all of their old messages as well. I knew what was going on. They were trying to fish for information, so I was just very upfront with them and told them the feelings I had, because I kind of knew it was going to find its way back anyways. Because this is what these guys keep doing to each other. They pretend to be friendly to one another, and then they go trash talk each other immediately right afterwards. And what I just ended up saying was, I know that he doesn't really like me, and it's disappointing, and I also got to be told by, friends of mine about how, yeah, he was repeatedly bringing up over and over again the whole thing about the finale and trying to blame us for all of it. He wouldn't leave it alone. But then that he also went as far as calling me out for, like, my furry stuff and everything. And you know what their concern was? Their concern was not about any of that. What they asked me was, who's your friend that told you all that? Oh, are we fishing for information right now? Nah, I'm not giving you that one. Sorry. But I'll at least let you know that I'm disappointed by all of this and I'm aware of all of this at this point. And that's what I assume happened, was they immediately went and told him everything. And I don't care that they did. If anything, I was kind of hoping that by being that upfront and direct about it and just saying, hey, I never wanted to fight anyways. I never wanted all these arguments. Not to mention the person I was talking to had all of their own arguments with him and are well aware of all that. In fact, it was the awkward ending to the conversation as they were playing dumb about a bunch of these things that I had to go, by the way, I didn't forget anything. I just have to throw that out there. I didn't forget anything. I was defending you a lot in the past, too, when you were getting a hard time from him and you were desperately trying to come to everyone telling you how he was going after you. And they went like, oh, yeah, I haven't forgotten any of that either. No, I bet you haven't. But, yeah, we didn't have some kind of big fight. He never wanted to be direct with us and have conversations with us when he knew something was wrong. In fact, when Julian was trying to arrange a conversation with him, he kept insisting on, he's going to yell at me. That was his phrasing over and over again, was he's going to yell at me. When Julian was always very calm with him when trying to talk to him. It's a thing that's not going to ever be worked out here. And it's a mentality that's been enabled for God knows how long by so many different people that there's no need for there to ever be a reason to change either or improve. Because for a lot of people, this is what they want. A lot of people, this is what they always wanted. And that's why even on something like this, if people are hoping like, well, maybe if you... No. It's not going to reach people, especially in this modern era right now. This is not going to make people reconsider something. This is going to just get people to go after us all over again, and then we're going to have another incident where somebody drives out with a gun all over again. No. I don't want to do all this shit again, and that's why even with all this, I'm telling you guys, don't make this into some kind of big deal here. This was going on the whole time anyways, and it ended already like a few years back. I just don't feel like laying in a position, just not doing anything to even defend myself in the slightest in favor of someone who is still going out of their way to actively make harm happen here. I'd rather just be upfront about this one and be able to kind of move it on. I know people are not going to let me do that, obviously, but I'm going to try anyways. And that's why I'm telling people to. If you want to keep watching them, by all means, go ahead. But if you think that this is going to be the same kind of place here, it's not. If you feel like we're the same kind of people or something, we never were. I'm sorry about that, but at the same time too, yeah, this just might not be the right place for you, and there's no harm in that. This might just not be the right place for you then, and that's okay. You can go back to watching it and everything. Don't let this all ruin, your mood or something. These were personal experiences, and it's why I partially wasn't talking about these things to this length in the past, because it was also personal. It feels petty to have to talk about this kind of thing, but when somebody is going to be doing it anyways and trying to throw you under on all of it because you're not going to do it, then it finally has to eventually get into a point of, I don't feel like having another person come out with a gun. I kind of feel like just saying what sort of happened here so we can all just move on. Once again, they don't want to hear about us. We don't want to hear about them. And it would be just better for everybody if we can kind of get accepted as different things at this point. It was all so long ago in some cases anyways. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. But I'll finish up reading donations and everything here once I get back. So, just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, that was a lot.
Have a good pee.
Pee?
Mm-hmm.
Penis?
I mean, Steven?
I mean, penis?
Be careful, you're going to fall down.
Tripped, yeah. I was thinking
Be careful.
I like when her nose flaps like a bee.
Yes. Hi, guys. I haven't had a full night's sleep. I was staying up. So I've probably only had like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And unfortunate to hear that Dee Dee was still having to talk about bad stuff while I was out. But yeah, it's been, I think it's kind of just necessary that we have to like lay down some lines here because things have gone so far. Things are so crazy. It's probably not going to be the last time. As he was talking about, I think this is just going to be like a presence in our lives for as long as we continue to exist. It stinks, but nobody has a perfect life. Dee Dee keeps bringing up a specific point. He keeps going like, even being a billionaire doesn't make you happy. Elon Musk is like incredibly unhappy. And it does kind of remind you, because part of the reason that it makes me feel so hopeless is it just feels like cheaters get to win all the time. It feels like if you're willing to do bad things, it's just an advantage. But even if you go all in on that, and I don't know, Elon Musk seems like the sort of person who has really just gone completely all in on like being bad. He still didn't really win. It just makes everybody unhappy, including his own self. Thank you, Ninja. I'm very sorry that you guys have to keep jumping in to save us financially. It shouldn't have to be that way. Crowdfunding is like an idea with a lot of potential, and I was very excited when it kind of like Kickstarter first started being used to fund game projects and stuff like that, but the system still feels like it's not really working. The fact that we keep coming up short and like needing to do these emergency streams where we stay up all night, it seems like there's like a kink in the pipeline somewhere that we'll have to figure out. Dee Dee's coming back, so he's gonna talk now.
You got it running on the TV.
Oh, sure.